Hey guys, it's Serenity. Today, this is going to be part 2 of the NCW wallet that I started in the previous video. We are sewing a structured NCW with no interfacing whatsoever. And it is very structured and sturdy, I promise. This is the card slot and it's just waterproof canvas. And it's just kind of, if I did that with just cotton, it would be... So anyway, if you want to know how to put the card slots together with waterproof canvas, go back to the video. It's just called part 1, sewing, structured, blah, blah, blah. I'll link it down below. But yeah, if you want to see how we did that, go back and watch that video. That part's already done. Now I'm going to start on the zipper panel. Now that I do a little bit differently also. The pattern, I have one of them from a different bag I made. The pattern gives you pieces, two of these rectangular pieces. It is, I hate to give away the measurements, it's a rectangle. So this way, horizontally, is going to be a little bit longer than this way. I don't want to give you the numbers because it's not my pattern to give away. But if you're laying them there and you're like, they look like squares to me, how do I know which one's which? Well, the lining piece also that's given to you in the pattern needs to be flush with the edges. So you see if I lay it here, it's flush. But if I turn it this way, it's obviously a little off the edges and it's not right. So when we're putting our zipper on, this is what we need to know basically, is which edge to put our zipper on. So I have mine laid out correctly. Let's move that out of the way. I am not using these. You can if you want, but whenever I use, whenever I make a zipper pouch or pocket, whatnot, with waterproof canvas, I don't use a lining. I just use the exterior. You'll see how it comes together. I just think it's too much bulk. For this, you could, this is the one I made earlier. I cut the pieces out and didn't use them. But the inside, you can see your zipper on the inside. If you don't want that look, if you don't like that, then use the lining pieces that the pattern gives you, and then you won't see your zipper. But it just gives extra bulk. I mean, you could use it on this one since there's no interface, and it just gives it a little bit more structure if you do use them. I'm just choosing not to. So that's the only thing I really do different. I'm sure I'm going off the pattern a little bit because once I've made these a couple times, I don't usually refer to the pattern anymore because I kind of get the gist of what's going on. So once I get this laid correctly, I want it to be at least, you can measure if you want, I want it to be at least a ½ inch from the edge. My dog's in there. That way, once I get my zipper tabs on and all that good stuff, I have plenty of room to get my, my foot in between the edge and the zipper tabs, and I won't accidentally sew on top of the zipper tabs. So that's the only reason. I'm sure there's a measurement you need for installing it. I don't refer to the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I'm going to singe it here with my lighter. All right. I eyeball it. I say a ½ inch just because that's a good measurement to stay away from your edge. Some patterns say a ¼ inch. I just feel like that's way too close to the edge and I can't get my stitches in there good enough just right. So let's see. I'm going to mark this since I had to unzip it. Pretty much where I want it is right there. And hold on, I'll show you what it looks like. Well, that's gone. Okay. Alrighty then. That's still too long, but I will cut it off. Whoops. No, it's not. Make sure you got your rectangular piece laid correctly. I'm going to cut that just a little bit shorter. Singe it again. Oops. All right. All right, now I will hold it up so you can see. I should have wore a white shirt. I'm sorry. Okay, see how much space there is? Almost a finger's width on each end. I like to have a lot of room on each end. So, I don't even know what the measurement is. I guess I could look. It looks like it's 7 inches. I know that might give away a little bit of measurements, but oh well. Okay, so zipper tab, right side up, zipper, right side down. I'm going to kind of line it up the best I can with the edge of the zipper tab, and I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance to stitch that down. Turn my stitch length down a little bit. Okay. Okay. My machine was turned up a little bit. I didn't like that. All right, so we just have this sewn on like so. I'm just going to do the same to the other side. Right side up, zipper side, right side of the zipper down. Right sides together basically. And same thing, 1/2 inch. Maybe. Get it on there. One second. And there we go. Okay. This is what we have. The right side of your zipper is this way. We're going to fold these out and then just in. I'm not going to, this is where they are. Should have worn a white shirt. This is where they are. I'm going to fold it up. And I'm not going to bend this over and fold it under so it has a nice pretty seam because no one's going to see that. It's going to be inside your zipper. So you're going to fold it up and then just fold it right back down. And we're going to trim this little extra stuff off after we top stitch. So that is what it looks like right now. And I'm just going to top stitch it on both ends. Same thing to this side. Okay. All right, so that's what it looks like now. You have just stitches across it. I'm going to lift this up and just trim it with my scissors, and then we're going to cut off this little bit of extra on each side. Got pieces going all over the floor. Oh well. All right, now it's all nice and flush. That little piece I just cut off right next to the stitch line. That's our zipper tab. Now we're going to lay your zipper piece. We're going to lay that right sides up, then your zipper, right sides down. So right sides together. Make sure you have the correct edge. You may have to refer to the pattern for that. I just hate to give too much away for something like that. But you'll know, because if I had it on the wrong edge, it would be way too close to the edge. So you want that good 1/2 inch-ish space in between the edge and your zipper tabs. I'm going to eyeball it and then just clip it. Oh, what the heck. One more clip. All right, and I'm just going to, since I'm not using the lining piece, I'm not going to baste this. Normally you would baste this if you wanted to, and then put your lining piece on and then do like a 1/4 inch, you know, get close to those zipper teeth. But since I'm not using the lining piece like the pattern calls for, I'm going to go ahead and do my 1/4 inch seam allowance now and get kind of close to those zipper teeth. Of course, you don't want to get right on them and sew over them, but you want to get fairly close to them. And start your stitching on the zipper tab. Close that zipper pull. So that's what we have. I don't know if you can see my stitching well enough or not. You can see where it started. It's about a 1/4 inch. we're going to go ahead and flip this up and make sure your zipper is laying flat. You want that, I know it's hard to see, you want that seam pointing down because we're going to top stitch this, and you want to top stitch through that seam. Kind of see how it's pointing down? I should have picked a better fabric to do this one with, but so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, that's what it looks like. We're going to fold it up, and fold that seam down, and top stitch this little edge right here. That way. And you can start sewing from the very end now. Take your time, especially if you're using a contrasting thread like I am. You don't want it to look too wonky. I probably should have switched to a navy thread, but oh, okay. So that's what we've got so far, some top stitching. And now I'm just going to go ahead, there it is, and get my other zipper panel piece. Make sure you have it right. If you do it wrong, you'll be able to see extra on the edge, so make sure you're laying it down right. But you're going to lay that down right side up where you want your zipper to go. The zipper, make sure you pull it in half. Pull your zipper pull to the center and just line it up just like we did, right sides together. Your edges should line up if you did it correctly, and center it and then clip it. And we're just going to do the same exact thing we just did. All right, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And start on that zipper tab. Move my zipper pull out of the way. And then be sure to stop on your zipper tab. You don't want to go any further. And then same thing, I'm gonna move my hair, my finger gets stuck. All right, zip your zipper up all the way. Same thing, you want to make sure your zipper is laying flat because we want to top stitch what we just did. Just the same as the other side, you want that seam to be that way. Okay. That's what we have. So now we're going, I always say snow. So now we're going to unzip our zipper, not all the way because we don't want to sew through our zipper pull. We're going to put right sides together. So that's what it's going to look like. And then we're just going to clip these 3 edges and sew all the way around. And then when we turn it right side out, we'll be turning it through here. So make sure you leave your zipper pull halfway open at least. Okay. Make sure you fold those tabs up so they're, you know. And that's the main reason I like to have so much space, because it gives me that much more space to get my needle up there to sew. If it's too small, it's just hard to get your needle up there. Oops. Probably don't need this many clips. Okay, go ahead and start on one end and end up on the other, or start on one side, that is. Okay. Also, I think it's a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. You see how I was able to get right beside my zipper tab but not on it? That's key. That's a big deal. All right, this is waterproof canvas. I think I mentioned in my other video before this that whenever I'm trying to flip something right sides out, I do like to use steam on my waterproof canvas. It just makes it more malleable. Is that the right word? It just helps it flip better and easier, because sometimes waterproof canvas can be really stiff when you're trying to get it through small holes, like an inside zipper pocket or something like that. So I just cut off the bottom corners so they turn a little easier. I'm just going to give it some steam. I don't recommend putting your iron directly on the waterproof canvas. It could melt it. All right, let's go ahead and turn this right side out. I try to get those corners right away while the waterproof canvas is still warm. I can feel it. Come on. It's making me look bad. Oh my gosh. Totally making me look bad. All right. I wouldn't recommend scissors, but just make sure you keep them shut if you absolutely have to use them to help poke out corners. Just be super careful. You don't want to poke a hole. I've done that. Okay. I really need to get a tool that's meant for this instead of using my scissors, but I just haven't yet. Okay. If I poke a hole, I'm going to be mad. Like, totally. Someone wants to say hi. Say hi. This is Poppy. You're Mama's boy, aren't you? Have a kiss. Thank you. Okay. You made your little debut. All right. Just poking those zipper tabs out, which should do good here. Okay. We want to roll these seams that we just sewed, get them nice and flat, clip them. The main one we're concerned with is the zippers here. The main one we're concerned with is here because it's going to show. You're not really going to see the sides too much. They will be hidden on the sides of the wallet. I could not get these corners perfect, so we're just going to go with it. One more clip. Okay, so I've just clipped all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and top stitch. Usually I just kind of start in the center of my side and top stitch and kind of end in the center. I don't typically go all the way up, and this is going to be hidden in the side of the wallet anyway. So the main thing we want top stitched is this. I just don't like stopping and starting on the end. I feel like there's too much reason for it to, not reason, but too many ways for it to maybe unravel if it's stopped and started right here. So that's why I start right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I know what I'm trying to say. It's my mouth doesn't want to spit it out the way I want it to spit it out. Again, just take your time if you're using a contrasting thread. Loud. And it doesn't look too bad. This corner looks a little funny, but when it gets folded up and put in your wallet, you're not going to notice that. So I'm not extremely worried about that. The main thing I was worried about was just getting this top stitching line nice and straight. So that is it for our zipper pocket. And again, you can see your raw zipper inside if you do it this way. If you don't want that, make sure you add your lining pieces the way the pattern says to. So if you're wanting to see what this looks like, again, the lighting, sorry. So there's our card slots that you put the cards in like so, and then your zipper. We're gonna put this, center it, and do stuff. But for now, those two pieces are done. We're gonna go ahead and work on the flap. Yes, that's the one I want. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. Usually I don't put these. It's a Handmade label. Usually I do not put these on wallets. I thought I might. We'll see how I'm feeling when I get to that point, but my chair is squeaky. But I may not do it. I don't know. Okay, so we have waterproof canvas for our lining, and I wanted this really pretty floral for the exterior, so I added 2 layers of Decoville Light to the exterior part of my flap. So that's going to be, gosh, it's just so pretty. I'm excited. If I was doing vinyl all over, I wouldn't add any interfacing at all. I know it says no interfacing in the description and stuff, but I did have to do it because I'm using the cotton. So our snap is going to go on our lining part of our wallet. So I'm going to go ahead on the wrong side. If you cut it out, there is a small hole in the pattern piece that you should poke through so you can put a mark where the snap is supposed to go. I don't know what I thought I was going to say there, but anyway, so you should have that dot. I think it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to say the measurement. I don't know how far up it is from the edge, but it is on your pattern piece. So I like this to be nice and straight. Okay. I'm taking my washer for my magnetic snap, and I'm just marking my, can you see it? I bet you can't. Oh, there's a terrible glare on my laptop screen, so I can't even see like half the stuff I'm doing. I'm just putting my marks there for my feet for my snap to go. Also, I am getting these little pieces of Decoville Heavy and putting marks on them as well. And I'm going to poke the holes for my feet to go. My feet for my magnetic snap, that is. On both pieces, the Decoville and the waterproof canvas. Let's move this out of the way. I don't need that right now. Okay. I am not putting my snap on just yet. I want to sew, I moved it too soon. I want to sew my flap together first and then do that. I find that it's easier to top stitch when the snap isn't on my piece first, and then I just insert it later. And with this one, it's really easy. You just open it up and fold the fabric back. You'll see it's really easy. But okay, waterproof canvas, right side up. Your exterior, whatever it is, your exterior panel in general, right side down. So you're putting the right sides together, flop it on there. We're going to go ahead and clip. That was kind of loud. We're going to go ahead and clip all the way around. I am going to clip the top, the flat edge, even though I'm not going to sew that edge right now. I am going to clip it. All the way around. And really quick, you see these clips, if you want these I got from Amazon. If I remember, I will link it below. I'm not sure. I think it's called Alligator Clips, and they're like, an 1.5 inches long, 1 3/4 inches, something like that. I'll try to remember, put it in the description box, what they are, or the link to find them. But these, see how they're kind of rainbow colored? I love mormino.com. I love their hardware. Lauren is awesome to work with. You can email her if you have any questions, but she sells these. I'm not sure on the price. I can't remember off my head. But I'll put all that info in the description box below. Also, these are Amazon. They're just plain silver. They're kind of like hair clips, salon hair clip type things. The same thing that these are, but they're like a rainbow, whatever. Really pretty. Lauren is super awesome. That's where I learned a lot of my sewing stuff. I had surgery and I was off work for quite a few months and down and out for a while, and I just started watching her live tutorials on Facebook, and here we are. Now I'm doing live tutorials, not live, but now I'm doing tutorials on YouTube and stuff, so she's awesome. I definitely have to give her props. I don't get paid for anything. Nothing like that. She's just awesome, so I definitely wanted to mention her. But okay, enough of that. I'm not going to sew this edge, but I am going to sew all of this, and I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance or so. I don't know what the pattern calls for. If you want to know exactly, you should probably refer to the pattern, but I am going to use a 1/4 inch. Go ahead and use my wheel here so it's nice and perfect or somewhat perfect. Okay. You can take these off too. So that's what we have. We just stitched all the way around. I used to make small cuts all the way around those curves so they would lay nicer when I flip it to the right side out. I've noticed it doesn't really make a difference if I make those cuts or if I just kind of trim it like 1/8 of an inch away from that stitch line. So that's what I've been doing lately, and it's working just fine instead of all those little cuts all the way around. I had someone in a Facebook group ask me about pinking shears. I can't remember her name right now. I've never used pinking shears, so I can't say if that would work or not. I would assume maybe if you had a little bit bigger seam allowance, give yourself like a 1/2 inch seam allowance and then use pinking shears, maybe. But I just, for the most part, the curved edges, I trimmed it down to about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitch line. Again, waterproof canvas and all this interfacing, I'm going to steam it really quick so it just kind of flips easier to the right side. So that's what I'm doing. Now, if your exterior is vinyl, you can use steam, just not on the vinyl part. Make sure if you do, it's on the wrong side of your vinyl. And never lay your iron down on it. You don't want to melt your vinyls. Then you're going to have to throw that part away and start all over. That's no fun. All right, so now we're just going to roll that seam out so it's nice and flat. Again, I want to clip it, and then we're going to top stitch. And no, I'm not putting that magnetic snap in just yet. We will get there. I love this print. This was a fat quarter that I found at Joann's. And I'm not really big into floral, but I don't know. It just jumped out at me when I seen it, and I thought, I like that. I'm gonna have to give that a try. Didn't know what I was gonna make with it, but I knew it was gonna go in a bag. I thought about a Bonnie bucket bag. If you've seen those are really cute bags. You can make them to drawstring bags also if you want. But instead we went with the NCW, so that's good. So that's what we look like right now. We're all clipped up. I'm not top stitching this part, the top part, only the part that we just sewed previously. 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Take your time. Especially if you're sewing on vinyl. If you mess up, the vinyl will be perforated from your stitching, and if you have to rip your stitches out, you'll be able to see the holes where they were, and you're not going to want that. So definitely just take your time, use that hand wheel if you have to. All right. So that's my exterior, my interior. You can see the top stitching. Now we're going to add the magnetic snap. And you may, when you're doing this, this is just a scrap piece. I'm going to actually cut it into an oval because by the time we get it in there, the little corners won't want to lay flat. So, sorry, my dog's licking the floor. There's nothing on the floor. Just kind of wondering what he's doing. This is a silly boy. Okay. It doesn't have to be pretty. No one's ever going to see it. But it has the holes in it where my feet are going to go, and so does my waterproof canvas because we've already done that. So let me make sure I got the right one. Sometimes I mess up. Nope, we're good. We want the part that has the little nipple, the male part, whatever you want to call it. We want that one for the flap. Go ahead and insert it on the right side of your fabric. So the legs are on the inside. Maybe. I might not have put, well, the legs are too far apart. There we go. Okay. It's in there, but before I put my washer on, I want to put this on just for a little bit of extra durability. I'm not going to iron it down, and I can kind of see I'm just kind of squishing this away so I can see what I'm doing. I can even pick it up really if I want, and I can get to where you can't see it, I don't think, but the little feet are right there and I can see them. This you cannot do on the mini. I still do this on the mini, but you can't peel this back and bend it back because it's so small. It's just, you got to really get your fingers in there. But this one's so big you can just move the fabric away and get to it. I'm going to fold the legs out, I think, instead of in on themselves. I find that it's less bulk if you fold the legs out than in, especially on the flap, because you can feel the legs, the feet, whatever, through the flap if you really try to. So if you fold them out, that's a good thing. And if you have duct tape, it's good to cover the feet with duct tape. I don't know where mine's at. My daughter took it, I think. But so see, that's why I like to add the snap after all this, because it's kind of close to that top stitching. And my machine just, I don't want to switch feet out like for a zipper foot or anything. And it's just hard to get right where you want to be without kind of messing up, especially with a contrasting thread. All right, let's go ahead and add our snap to our exterior. This vinyl is pretty floppy. I probably should have added, I probably could have added a layer of Decoville Light, but this is some thick, sturdy stuff, and we still have yet to put that inside the bag, plus the other part, the other oval for the lining. But I'm not really worried because, I mean, if you can tell, the flap is kind of flat, but if it was cotton, it'd be all flopped over, you know, so it's pretty sturdy stuff. This vinyl is a little thicker than what I'm going to use, and it's, I mean, it's some thick stuff. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it'll be fine. Like the video title says, no interfacing. So I'm not going to use interfacing just because that's what I'm supposed to be doing in this video, is no interfacing. What am I doing? I'm lost. I get to talking sometimes. Okay. Washer. And then the other part of our magnetic snap. I still don't know if I want to add this. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to put the whole thing together first, and then before I put the finish on it where I can still get inside, I'll decide then. Yeah. Okay. Same with the other thing, with the flap. Your pattern piece has a spot in it for you to mark where your hole or your magnetic snap goes. So make sure when you're cutting your pieces out and preparing them that you put that there so you can figure out where to put your snap. I do the same thing with my little piece of Decoville Light. Poke my holes. And same thing, if you were to iron this little tiny square onto your vinyl or whatever fabric, those will go far, or whatever fabric you're using, you're going to see an outline of whatever shape this is on the right side. You'll be able to see that, and I didn't like that. So now this we can just put the snap on right away. It's out of the way. You're not going to come anywhere near stitching on that, so we can go ahead and put that on. I'm going to put this on just like we did the flap. I'm not ironing it, and then I'm going to put my washer on, and then I'm going to fold the legs out. Again, the duct tape, if you have any duct tape, gray tape, whatever, it kind of just helps keep stuff in, especially purse feet also. Sometimes those like to come out over time. The duct tape is just like a little bit of added extra, you know, whatever, stability. So that's our outside. That's the bottom. I do have a mark up here on the top for my center. I don't think it comes on the pattern, the center mark. But on the pattern, after I printed it out and made it, taped it together, I folded it in half, the pattern piece. And I found the center of the top and the bottom, and I put a little mark. So when I'm tracing my pattern onto my fabric, I put a mark already, so that way when I cut it out, I have marks there. Even if I don't use that center one on the bottom, it's just, I guess it's a good habit. I need this. Why do I keep putting it back? It's a good habit to do. So I don't know. That's just what I do. All right. This, I don't know if you can see it. I just put my little center mark there. All right, so what we're going to do, this is the top and the bottom. We're going to snap our snap so it's stuck onto our big oval exterior piece. Do not just pick it up and clip it. You want to spin it. It's kind of hard to see, it's white. Okay, if we spinned it, it's still clipped. And then we're going to pick it up. So the lining part of your flap is pointing out. Your exterior oval right side of your exterior is pointing out. This is my exterior of my flap, and the exterior right side of my exterior and the exterior of my flap are together, if that makes any sense. So again, clip it together, not clip, snap it together so it's hooked, and this is what you would think you would do, but you don't. Flip it upside down, and then bring that up to the top, okay? Hopefully I explained that well enough. I like to do that so I just know that we're straight. I'm going to find my centers and clip, and this doesn't always mean that it's centered. Sometimes your seam allowances can be a little off and you don't realize it. And then when you go to sew your wallet together, it doesn't want to snap flush. It wants to be like crooked when it snaps. So I like to do this and just kind of, I don't know. If it's, let's see, if it's snapped and it's crooked like this, it's obviously not straight. You want to keep adjusting where this is on your wallet until it's nice and like straight and even looking. And mine is. So I'm going to go ahead, and it takes some getting used to it. If it's definitely crooked, move your flap more this way. If that doesn't fix it, then move your flap this way. I mean, it's just trial and error. I think mine's good. And now I'm just going to baste my flap onto my exterior, 1/8 of an inch, something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, just not too far in. You don't want these stitches to be seen later on. Okay. Now we can unsnap it, and that's what it looks like. This adheres. So this is the exterior, right sides together. All right. There's been so many times I've done this and it looks perfect, and I get it all put together, and you know, you fold it up and you go to snap it and it's like crooked. Sometimes it just doesn't work, and sometimes it does. But all right, this looks a little wrinkly. I'm gonna give it some steam real quick. Flatten it out some. What we're going to do next is we're going to cut a hole in the center of our oval. That's what we're going to flip our wallet through. If you're not sure how big of a hole you should cut, you could lay your card slot, center it up, and you want to make sure your hole doesn't go past the edges of your card slot. So if you really wanted to, you can make a mark. I would suggest doing it on the wrong side. Center it up, and you should have your center marks on your piece if you marked them like I said that I do. So this stitch line on your card slot panel, whatever, should line up with those center marks. If you want, just go ahead and put a mark on your oval. See my white marks? We don't want to cut past those. So you don't really need both, you just need the one. We're going to fold it so we can see those marks we just made. Nice and perfect. If you want to put a clip in it, you can do that. I typically don't, but I will, just so I can hold it up without it falling apart. So there's one of my marks right there. We're going to roughly find the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, just the center is roughly right in there. And I'm going to cut probably up to here. I can't really see my line. Yeah, I'm going to try to stay like 1 inch or so away from that white line. That way I know I'm not going to be cutting past where my card slots are going to go. So like I said, just eyeball it. So there's my line, you can see right there, and that's how far I cut. So when you open it up, you have this big hole in the center. Okay? All right. We're close to being finished. This is fun. All right, so here's our exterior. We're just finished with your flap side up, and you can see your snaps. You want all that pointed up. Right side of your lining goes down. So basically right sides together. Right side of your exterior is up, your vinyl is pointing up, and right side of your waterproof canvas is pointing down. And where your flap is, which is this way, your flap's right here, you should have a center mark on there. And if you put the marks on all of your pieces, you should have a center mark on here also. You could line those up and clip. I always do one on each side first. If it's not perfect, it doesn't really matter, because if it's not perfect when you line it up with that center mark, it's okay. Don't worry about that center mark, because both of your ovals should be exactly the same size. And if it makes it easier, put the waterproof canvas on the bottom, since your vinyl has the flap attached to it and it's a little bit chunky or whatever. But really just put the one oval over top of the other and just make it even all the way around. My head itches all of a sudden. All right, one on each side, and then I just clip the heck out of the rest of it. And I can tell right now that I did not cut my vinyl perfectly, so just probably just cut your vinyl perfect when you cut it out, so you don't have to adjust for that when you're sewing your pattern together. But like, I don't know, see how it just sticks up a little bit? It's not really bad, but I'm just going to follow the waterproof canvas when I do my stitching, and it'll be fine. When it flips around, it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. Whoa. Yes, I'm using a ton of clips. Why not? That's it. See, it's a little off here, but it's even everywhere else. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to follow the blue edge instead of the white. All right, my flap is up here. You can't really see it, but my flap's up here. I can feel it. I like to start in this corner right before my flap. No rhyme or reason, it's just where I always start. So we're going to start in that corner. I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, 3/8, something like that. You could probably do a 1/2 inch. I just think that's way too much. I just don't think there's no need for a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I would just say a 1/4, somewhere around there. Backstitch on the flap, and if I were you, sometimes I do like to do a little bit, just a little bit wider of a seam allowance on the flap, just so I have a little bit extra to top stitch on. You don't want to make it so small that there's nothing to top stitch on when you flip your bag right side out. So just make sure there's plenty there. You're not going to trim that part when we're done. You're going to leave that the way it is. Again, just take your time. You don't want to perforate that vinyl and leave marks on it from where the stitches were if you have to rip anything out. Okay. If you'll notice, that's where my vinyl was a little extra big. I just followed the blue. I didn't, go way off and follow the vinyl. I just followed blue. So I'm going to trim that off, and my rounded edges, I'm going to trim down to about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitch line. I'm not going to trim the long edges, especially the one that has the flap, because I want to have, like I said, something to stitch on when I top stitch. So that is what I'm doing right now. Okay, and now I'm just trimming off that extra vinyl that was sticking out. Okay. And again, it's waterproof canvas, so I'm going to steam it. Same with my vinyl, just a little bit of steam, not much. Okay, let's go ahead and get that flap pulled through. And then the rest of the wallet. Shove it right through that hole. Ooh, my nose is itchy. Okay, now when I top stitch, I want to top stitch from, sorry, it's itchy. I'm going to sneeze shortly, I think. But yeah, when I top stitch, I want to top stitch from this side. So I want to make sure when I'm rolling this seam to flatten it out that I don't have a lot of blue sticking over that you're going to see, because we don't really want that. Then again, I'm just going to clip the heck out of it. Just try to get that seam where you can kind of see your stitches where you stitched. You're not going to be able to clip your flap, so when you do get to your flap and you're sewing, you're going to want to kind of not tug on it really hard, but just give a bit of a tug so it's, you know, pulled out and good to go. But it's not as hard as you might think. It's pretty easy. And again, when I mention, not again, but when I mention like Emmeline Bags and Lauren from More Me Know and all that, I'm not affiliated with anything. I'm not making money off of anyone or off of YouTube. I just strictly like to do these videos. If I learn something new about a pattern or quilting, I have a long arm. I like to do long arm quilting. If I learn something new that saves me a ton of time or money or something like that, I'll get on YouTube and look and see if anyone's done a video on it yet, because when I first started making these, I didn't like the cards. Well, I still don't like the card slots according to the pattern. And I looked all over YouTube and Googled it, and there was just nothing good I could find to make the card slots different and easier, less interfacing. So it's nice to have that to find. So that's why I do the videos. Oh, excuse me. Man, I'm surprised I'm not sneezing yet. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to top stitch around the whole entire oval. Like I said, give the flap a little bit of a tug when you get to it. I'm not going to back stitch on anything. I'm going to try to stay 1/8 of an inch away from the side. Little back stitch in there. There we go. Just a little. And just go slow. Take your time. Just make sure everything's flat. My nose is so itchy. I'm sorry. I know I keep rubbing my nose. I'm sorry. There's a sneeze coming eventually. All right. Oh my goodness. I'm going to use my lighter to singe my threads. If you're doing this, just be careful you don't burn your vinyl or waterproof canvas. I can feel the sneeze. It went away. Darn it. Does that make you mad too when you feel like you're going to sneeze and then it just goes away? My daughter will do that. She'll see me getting ready to sneeze and she'll just be like, bless you. And then for some reason my sneeze goes away. I'm like, ooh, kid. And she laughs. I don't know why it goes away. But every time she does that to me, it goes away. It's like, rrr. Okay. Set this aside for a second. Go ahead and grab your card slots and your zipper panel. And I'm going to melt these threads. They are driving me crazy. All right, card slots. Put your cards in this way. Your zipper is up here. Center it all good and nice and pretty. Okay. Next, I can't really clip it. Next, I'm going to sew a line from here to here, right across the center. The pattern calls for like a square, but you're also sewing it into the body of the wallet too. We're not doing that. This is the different way that I do it. So I lay these on top of each other just like you're supposed to do it in the pattern. One stitch line. You're going to leave, I don't know, the wallet's pretty big, so I would say maybe 2 inches leave unstitched, or even more. We're just trying to get it stuck together so they're not apart. We're just trying to get them together. So you could even do just like a little 2-inch stitch line right in the center. So I will do that, and then I'll hold it back up and show you what it looks like. And I eyeball it, but I can see my stitch lines on the edge where the center technically is, so I kind of know that that's my center. So I will do it really quick and show you what I mean. Okay. Whoa. All right, so that's what it looks like, just a little stitch mark, and now they're attached, and yeah. Now we're going to take what we just did and fold the sides in of the zipper pocket and clip them together so they stay out of the way. There's a couple clips if you have to. 2 is pretty good. Don't really have to do any more than that. So that's what it looks like. You have your zipper pocket clipped out of the way, and you just have your card, you still put your cards in this way, zipper's up here. Now, get this. Flap up here, zipper up here, just like the pattern calls for if you have the pattern. And when you use waterproof canvas, like the edges they're just perfect. When I do the cotton and the interfacing, it's always wonky or crooked, or it's just not perfect. So this is really nice because everything lines up really good. I don't know if you can tell, but I mean it lines up right flush with my flap on each side. So just kind of center it, here to here, get it in there nice and neat. And then we're going to hold it here and fold our flap over. Pretty snug up again. You don't want any gap between your flap and this part of the card slot. You want it really nice and snug. And you're going to put a clip. And you're going to do another clip down here. Same thing. Make sure it's right in that bend. And then again up here, don't pull too tight, but tight enough to know that you have your card slot in that area. And same thing here, make sure you're still nice and flush, which we are. Hold that there. Clip. Clip. And clip. So now this is what we have. Your zipper pocket's still clipped out of the way, and you have your card slot inside this little fold. And I like to try to match up my stitch line on this side with the stitch line on my flap. Why do I keep wanting to call it a flap? Flap. I try to match up the stitch line here to my stitch line on my flap so it looks like it just is seamless. Sometimes it's just not possible because seam allowances, your flap is bigger or smaller. But that's what I try to do. So I'm going to start on the edge that has my flap closest to it. And I kind of try to start on the flap if I can. Depending on the type of vinyl you have and materials you're using, this little ledge right here could be pretty thick. So you might want to actually just start on that ledge or a little bit down from it and backstitch to kind of adhere it down, if that makes sense. Move my clip. But as you're doing this, just make sure you kind of fold that in. Look to make sure your card slot's going to get caught, and you're going to just stitch down this side. If you have to do a 1/4 of an inch, do a 1/4 of an inch just to make sure that card slot is caught in this seam. Just kind of not pulling really hard, but just a little bit, just to make sure everything's in there. Stop. Pull. So I just want to say this also, if you haven't made one of these, that's what mine looks like right here. So it kind of looks like it just kept going. If this is the stitch line is too close to the edge, your card slot won't be caught. And you can tell there's a little bit of stitching here, but that's just my top stitching got over a little. My card slot's definitely caught in there. But yeah, if that's too close to the edge over here, your card slot won't get caught and it'll come out. And then you have the stitch line. And if you rip those stitches out, you'll have holes in your vinyl, especially on the back side. And you'll be able to see them if you rip those stitches out, and you don't want that. And what I do if that happens and my card slot is not attached, instead of ripping those stitches out, I will just go ahead and put it back in there and clip it so the card slots lay in flush. And I'll just do another stitch line on this side so it looks like I intentionally put 2 stitch lines instead of trying to move it and adjust it and probably not covering up the holes from where the thread was and all that stuff. So, but if you get too far over here, then your cards won't fit in the card slots. So, I mean, I don't want to say trial and error. If you follow the pattern the way it reads, then you'll be fine. This looks like it's 1/4 of an inch, a little bit smaller than 1/4 of an inch. But enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and do this side. And to do this side, I have to start at the bottom, not where my flap is, but I already did this side, so I can kind of see how big my seam allowance is. So I just kind of eyeball it since I have to start at the bottom and I don't have that stitch line on my flap to follow. Move my clip down a little bit and get to it. Again, just make sure you tug on that flap a little, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Let's see how good it is. Yep, looks pretty good. All right, and my card slots are caught, so I'm just going to put my cards in to make sure it all fits. Yep, plenty of room to spare. All right, good deal. Now we can take these clips off of our zipper pocket, and basically all that's left is riveting. So I'm going to get this clipped and ready, and then I'll go grab my rivet press, and I will go ahead and rivet also. Now, if you did everything correctly, this should line up nice and pretty. We will test it out here. Isn't that wallet just pretty? Look at that gold on that cotton print. Isn't that just pretty? So, remember I said I was going to put my handmade tag. I thought about putting it in there. I forgot. If I really wanted to, I still could because of the way we put this wallet together. We didn't sew the zipper and cardstock to the wallet. So actually, if you go up underneath your card slot, I know you probably can't see, but if you go in between your card slots and your exterior big oval, whatever you want to call it, piece, you can still get to that hole. See? You can still get your hand inside that hole, and if you really wanted to, you could find where you want to put that handmade label, and you could attach it. Use Decovil Heavy just like we did on the snaps. I don't think I'm going to do it. Let me close this up. Before we rivet, we have to decide this, because once you rivet, your wallet's shut and you can't get up in there. So let me just see if I like it or not. I mean, it would be kind of cute, huh? Should I do it? Do you want to watch me struggle through it? Okay. I'm going to struggle through it. If you don't want to watch me, it's not even a struggle. It's just more difficult because you have to go up underneath. But anyway, if you don't want to watch me do this part, please fast forward. I will not be offended. It's completely fine. I just unbuttoned this and I didn't want to. I got to figure out where I want my my thing to be. So I'm thinking, bear with me one moment. I'm thinking I'm going to put down 3/4 of an inch and center it. All I did was hold it up where I thought I wanted it, and I measured from the top of my vinyl, not the stitches, but the vinyl. I measured how far down this should you know, sit. And it looks like 3/4 of an inch. Let me double check. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. So now we can open it up, lay it flat so we can mark it. This is another how do you mark it type thing. I'm just going to use the feet is what I'm going to do. And I'll just kind of push on the vinyl, which will leave an indent, and then I can poke my holes and all that good stuff. Since it's white, there is, I have it from Tandy Leather. There's like a marking pen for vinyl and stuff like that and leather, and it supposedly wipes off. I only ever use it on my vinyl for stuff like this, the little tiny prongs, because I'm afraid it won't wipe off. So yeah, so let's get these little legs, feet, whatever you call them, prongs, nice and straight. I'm going to measure down from the top of my vinyl, 3/4 of an inch, and then the top of my piece is what's going to be flush with my ruler, not the prongs centered, but the top of my piece I'm going to put flush with my ruler. This is a Fisker's ruler and has a 0 in the center, so it really makes centering things a lot easier. I'm going to use it instead of this little thing because it doesn't have a 0 in the center. Let's see, 3/4 I said. Okay. And I'm going to want it to be like right there. Alright, I would show you the indents, but you probably can't see them. But since I can see them and I know my prongs, no, I lost them. I'm going to put an indent in, and then since I know that's exactly where my prongs are going to go, I am going to use my friction pen and put a tiny little dot where those indents are, just so I don't lose them again. Okay, so that's where it's going to go. Yep, looks good. Okay, I may have to go grab some Decoville Heavy. I don't think I have anything big enough for these. Yep, I do. It'll work. Same thing as we did with magnetic snaps. Poke a little hole. All right, so you're going to find that you can get your hand inside that hole that we cut, and you can kind of feel. I'm going to use my left hand. Be very careful. Make sure you're definitely in there correct, because you don't want to poke through all of your stuff. That would not be good. So just take your time, nice and easy. Okay. Make sure it's on right. Put those prongs in. Oh, this will be so cute. And then the Decoville Heavy, and again, this wallet's big enough you can do this. I wouldn't suggest doing it this way for the mini. The mini is just so small that, and I have these bony, skinny fingers. You think I could get them in anywhere, and the mini is definitely hard. All right, it's just gonna take a minute. I know there's easier ways to do this, but oh well. All right, I got the one side. 1 second. Where is it at? I can feel it. So maybe you are going to watch me struggle. Oh my gosh, come on. There it is. Okay. Nope. Gosh. I'm so sorry. Here we go. All right, now I'm going to put my washer on. I can't show you what this looks like because it's all the way in here, so. And I'm going to fold those prongs out. Oh, okay. Cute. All right, that was fun. Okay. Now we're going to melt these threads before they drive me crazy from stitching your card slot into your wallet. I know there's a special tool you can get that kind of zaps it instead of using the flame. It would be safer than using your flame from a lighter, but I don't have one. Okay. When you get the pattern, it has marks on the pattern on these curves, and it's where you're supposed to put your zipper pocket and then pinch your outer part to it. I never transfer those marks. I don't need that anymore. I never transfer those marks. I always eyeball it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I do one side, and then I can kind of see how far these are in, and I try to make them the same size. And then I clip that. Looks pretty the same. And then I go with the front one, or whatever you want to call it. Same thing. Use my chest here. Lost a clip. Do over. Happens. I tend to normally put 2 in, but I wanted to wait until I decided whether I liked the location of it first, but that's fine. Okay. Let's see. Yep. That'll work. It probably is easier following the pattern and getting those marks marked on your piece, and then you just find the mark and there you go, but I guess I like to be difficult. So I just look at it. It's a little bit off. I want to adjust it, and then I will go and get my Rivet Press. Okay, so probably right there. Right there. Looks pretty good to me. We'll close it up, make sure it snaps correctly, and it's not twisted or awkward. So cute. All right, one second. I'm going to go grab my Rivet Press. Okay. I bought the Rivet Press at Gold Star Tool online. That's also where I bought my machine. I've heard a lot of people say stuff about them that they don't like, customer service, stuff like that. I have not had any issues with Gold Star. When I got my machine, there was a bar missing to put it together. I put it together myself, and I contacted them, and they emailed me right back. I don't know if I should recommend them or not. I've heard so many bad things about Gold Star Tool. I don't know. But the other company that's really good you can buy these 2 things from would be Sunny Sewing Machines. That guy, Sam, I think his name is, I have talked to on Facebook, and he is super nice. I'm thinking of buying a Juki 8700. I haven't done it yet, but I've been thinking about it, and I'll message him, and he messages me right back also. So Sunny Sewing Machines. I will try to remember to put all that stuff in the description box below. Excuse me. That way, you kind of have a couple options. I don't know, again, if you should go with Gold Star Tool. Just I've heard so many bad things about them, so I don't know. Order at your own risk if you order through them, I suppose. This is like a leather punch type thing. I got it off of Amazon. Also, I will put a link in the description box below. Offhand, I think it was like $15. I don't know. I'll figure it out or you'll figure it out when you click on the link and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and when you buy this, it comes with a die. If you buy one of these, it comes with a die that pokes holes also. But it's kind of a pain to take the die out, put a new die in, poke a hole, take that die out, put this die in, press it. So I didn't want to buy another one. I know Lauren from mormino.com. She has a In Sew Whatever Facebook group. Thank you. Sorry, it was UPS. He's just a little pug. He's not a killer. Anyways, Sew Whatever, Poppy, Sew Whatever Facebook group. Lauren does a ton of tutorials. She has 2 of these. Poppy, enough. Sorry. But she has one that pokes holes and one that rivets, and I just didn't want to spend the extra money to have 2 of these. So that's why I got this off of Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, I don't measure. Right here's my hole. I just kind of pick a spot that looks good. Make sure your zipper, Poppy! No. Make sure your zipper is caught in this little thing we have here. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless to rivet. Poppy, hey. Ugh, I would pause the video, but I'm just so close to being done. Sorry. Machine got in the way. All right, I'm going to unclip that one because I'm done with the side. I always start on the part that has the zipper tabs because it's like the thickest part, and it tends to, the clips tend to just fly off because it's so thick. So I always try to get that one out of the way first. Okay. Come on. I could put all 4 of these in and then rivet, but I've had them fly off before when I've done that, so I'd rather just do one at a time. That way, I just know that they're in there and snug. All right, so I have 2 rivets so far. Let's do these, and our wallet will be done. I was just looking at my YouTube channel earlier today, and I noticed I've gotten some extra subscribers, so thank you. I am really close to having 1,000 subscribers. That's just awesome. I never thought I was ever even going to have a YouTube channel, so just to... I didn't mess it up. No. So knowing that I'm that close to having 1,000 subscribers, that's crazy. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'm not monetized or whatever all that's called. I don't make money off of YouTube. It's for fun, something to do. So I don't have any sponsors, anything like that. I don't do any of that. So I know it's just exciting to know that, you know, there's other people out there that like the stuff I do and that's willing to watch and get my little tips and tutorials type thing. But anyway, I'm thinking of doing a giveaway for when I get to 1,000. And the way it's going, it's going to be soon. So I don't know what to give away. I do long arm quilting. I could do some free quilting. If any of you that watch like to make quilt tops, I do the quilting part. I'll turn it so I have a long arm. So I could do that as a giveaway. I could give away like a bag or something. Or do a video. I could give away a bag, but then do a video of me sewing it also, so it's kind of a little extra something. I don't know. I have a few different things I like to do on this channel, you know, sewing and then making bags. So if you have any ideas, put it in the comment section below and let me know what you think I should do for a giveaway. Yeah, it's just my way of saying thank you for subscribing and listening to me ramble on like I'm doing now. I really appreciate it. I love watching other people sew, and I mean, why not? So okay, here is our finished wallet. I'm glad I put that on. I really like the way that looks. I wish I don't have rose gold hardware, but I wish I did, because this flap has like gold in it. So it would have been really cool if this was like rose gold or just regular gold. And then the zipper and snaps. But so look, that's nice and sturdy, and 2 layers of Decoville Light and cotton. It was a fat quarter from Joann's, and then waterproof canvas. And the ones that are just vinyl stick up like this also with no interfacing at all. So I mean, I guess the title is kind of a lie because I did use a little bit of interfacing. But the rest of it, I mean, it's not floppy. It's kind of sticking open now because I just made it, so it wants to flop back open. But once you put your stuff in it, keep it closed. I mean, this is a sturdy wallet for no interfacing. And you know what? This waterproof canvas from FWD, Fabric Wholesale Direct, $6.99 a yard. And it's like really wide. Not the yard, but the length is really wide. So you get quite a bit for $7. I also bought it once off of Amazon. It's still through FWD, but I went through Amazon to get it. So I'm not sure how it was, but the shipping was faster. Not recently since all the COVID and shipping problems, but it was like last year sometime. But the shipping was faster through Amazon than it was through their actual website. So the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm not getting paid for any of this, but it's still through FWD, but you just go through Amazon to get it. and the shipping might be faster. So I would look on Amazon first if I were you, if you want to buy some, and I think it's still the same price, $6.99 or $7.99. I don't know. I haven't looked recently. But the vinyl I also got at Fabric Wholesale Direct. It's just white. I'm sure it has a name like Snow or something. I don't know. But I got that. I can't remember the price offhand. I can't remember. But that was also from Fabric Wholesale Direct. I got that off of their website. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. All the hardware. This was purchased a long time ago, like Etsy from China or something. I can't remember, honestly, the name tags, because I ran out of Lauren's and I don't think she had what I needed at the time. So I had to go on Etsy to get it. But now I think I'm just rambling just to ramble and talk. And yeah, I don't need to just keep talking, just, yeah. So if I think of anything else to say, I will put it in the description box below. I will try to link all that good stuff, websites and all that below also, so you guys can just click on those and find all the products that you want. Click the like button. That would be wonderful. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, especially if you want to maybe be entered in a giveaway. I've never done one before, so I'm gonna have to look into seeing how to do it. But of course, you'll have to like the video when I do announce it, and you'll have to be a subscriber and all that good stuff. So, all right. Until next time, thanks for watching, and have a good day. Bye.